Well guys, welcome back to another episode of Don't At Me. I'm here to tell you that the rumors of my dunking have been greatly exaggerated. Now I know you guys really appreciate the reporting that we've done along the lines of the Tfue versus FaZe Clan lawsuit over the last several weeks, and I want to tell you we're working on more. There's another thread we're pulling on and I hope to have something for you soon. But in the meantime, there's a bit of a sideshow to this whole drama that's caught our interest, and it has to do with another huge Fortnite streamer signed to FaZe. The question I present to you, is cloakzy still actually on FaZe Clan? Now look, I know that sounded a little bit conspiratorial, but stay with me here. Now for this particular issue, I brought in a hired gun, a little help, someone from the office in the back, and no, that is not a green screen, that is full of the reporters, researchers, and editors who make all the awesome content you've come to rely on from theScore esports. And before I introduce him, it is worth saying that we reached out to Cloaks for this story, and he has not yet had a chance to respond. If he is able to, we will of course update you. Now the man I brought in to help us is a bit of an expert on the whole Cloaks Tfue FaZe Clan situation, and his name is Keith. Okay, so Keith, when this whole thing popped off, when the Tfue lawsuit became public, I remember Cloaks had a statement on Twitter that he came out with, and if it wasn't neutral, it was pro-FaZe Clan, if anything, because I do remember FaZe Bank specifically retweeting it with comments something along the lines of, thank you so much, bro, generally reacting positively to it.
So at the time, maybe the biggest name in the Fortnite community in Tfue had kind of rustled Twitter's feathers. Banks was screaming into the void, everybody was asking questions, the likes of Ninja, Tim the Tatman, nobody really knew what was going on. It kind of hit us all by surprise. So a lot of people turned to Cloaks in order to sort of disseminate the information. And when his statement finally came out, it came off kind of neutral. He was certainly in support of Banks, but at the same time, he was in support of Tfue as well, because they've been boys since the beginning of competitive Fortnite. Now to me, reading that statement, it really looks like Cloaks is trying to make a point about who they're really fighting with here. It's not Banks or these front-facing people on Twitter, it's really the people behind the scenes that these contracts are being negotiated with in the first place.
A key part of this whole thing, correct me if I'm wrong here, is just like, one thing I want you guys to understand is that FaZe Clan is not necessarily just Banks, just Cloaks, just Tfue, just Rice Gum. The organization is so much deeper than that. It's like an iceberg, right? So there are a lot of people who are maybe puppeteering, that's a bit of an intense word, but people who are controlling things behind the scenes, who are wearing suits, who go to board meetings, who don't vlog, right? That's what you gotta understand about FaZe Clan. It's an organization like any other.
Right, yeah, I think that it's clear, and I mean, at least from where I'm sitting, it's clear through what Tfue's saying and what Cloaks is saying that it's not necessarily Banks that they're trying to have a fight with. They're not trying to start a Twitter war. It's not YouTube drama. This is as simple as contracts that are unfair to the people involved and them trying to alleviate themselves of the pressure that that's causing.
So he comes out with this initial statement. It's kind of neutral, neither here nor there, but correct me if I'm wrong, there was a second statement that skewed really far Tfue.
Right, so since the dust has settled on the lawsuit, Cloaks has taken some time off of streaming and off of his normal rigorous schedule. That said, the day after he made a statement on Twitter, he booted up his Twitch account to make sure that his community knew that Cloaks and Tfue are gonna continue to be a duo, they're gonna continue to play together every night, and they're gonna win the World Cup together.
The elephant in the room, me and Turner are still going to be duo partners. There's nothing different between me and Turner at all. We're still gonna slay out in the World Cup.
Now, here's where the tinfoil hat stuff kind of starts to come in. Cloaks changed his support a creator code from FaZe Cloaks to cloakzy. Now, if you don't think that's a big deal, in Fortnite, it's massive.
Now, my question to you is, did any other parts of his branding change? Because that would be very telling.
Right, so if you go and take a look at his Twitch page, FaZe is completely gone. That little F that's usually spinning underneath him when he's streaming, that's gone. The FaZe merchandise below the stream, that's gone. There's no mention of FaZe Clan anywhere on the page.
So you're telling me, if I go to Cloaks' Twitch page right now, there's not gonna be any FaZe Clan branding anywhere on the platform that they want eyeballs on?
Yeah, exactly. As of May 27th, Cloaks has not streamed with the FaZe Clan branding on his page whatsoever.
That's kind of shocking.
Yeah, I took it even further and I went and checked out his Instagram page where many Fortnite streamers and content producers have really started to flourish over the last year. And there's no mention of FaZe in his bio there either. He calls himself a Fortnite team captain, but not FaZe's team captain. Now, despite the fact that we've just showed you that on Twitch and on Instagram, Cloaks no longer has any of that FaZe stuff. On Twitter and on YouTube, all of the FaZe branding, it still exists. So my last point on this is that if you take a look at him in-game, in Fortnite, on the island where he's spending most of his time, he's also changed his name from FaZe Cloak to cloakzy.
Now, Keith, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were telling me before we went on air that when he's competing in Fortnite, he has a team tag, and he's changed that from FaZe Clan to Tatman Army, something with Tim the Tatman?
Yeah, so sometimes when streamers, especially big streamers, are streaming on Twitch, they'll tag themselves in a team. This is a way for streamers to build up a name for themselves within a group. Oftentimes, major streamers will have their mods involved, that kind of thing. So instead of Cloaks streaming under FaZe, like he previously would, he started to stream under Tatman Army, obviously Tim the Tatman's group.
So when I was doing all my research into the Tfue lawsuit, there were stipulations in there about the certain branding that Tfue had to have when he was streaming, obviously FaZe Clan branding. Now Cloaks, correct me if I'm wrong, was signed to FaZe Clan before Tfue, so it's reasonable to presume that he is on the same, if not a very similar contract as Tfue. Would this removal of FaZe branding from some of his channels and some of his social media accounts have any bearing on violating that contract? How do these two things interact?
Yeah, so that's kind of exactly what made me start to look into this in the first place. A lot of what Cloak seems to be doing with his Twitch channel and his socials is right in line with what FaZe didn't want Tfue to do with his contract. So from my standpoint, if Cloaks and Tfue have anything close to similar contracts, this would be in direct violation of what he's supposed to be doing as a content creator under the FaZe name. So if you guys are fans of Cloaks and Tfue, you'll know that for quite a while now, they've been planning on moving in together. They've talked about a house with 0 ping where they'll both vlog and it'll be awesome and they'll win the World Cup together. Well, this kind of came to fruition on May 28th. Cloaks had a stream where he was talking about how Tfue was moving in the next day, all of his stuff had come in, there's a bunch of boxes with computer parts. It was then where he kind of hinted at exactly what we're talking about.
I mean, it involves org stuff, but Turner moves in tomorrow. He's gonna be staying here. He got his room ready. He got all of this shit sent to the house. So me and Turner are gonna be doing some crazy shit. I'm talking to FaZe to figure out what I want to do. Yeah, did I say that correctly? I'm reading off a script right here.
So just to sort of catch you up, we've got a pro Fortnite player signed to FaZe Clan, removing FaZe branding from his Twitch account and his Instagram account, moving in with his ex-teammate, who's still his teammate, who may or may not be starting his own org. So if you guys have your tinfoil hat, I'd suggest putting it on now, because this next point is a little wild.
I can't wait.
So recently, while Tfue's been streaming, he's had this little Patrick the Star logo over top of his mouse because he's doing this brand deal with Final Mouse. Well, the other day, Cloaks had the exact same deal going on his page, where his mouse was being covered because he had this prototype going and nobody was allowed to see it.
You say something bad? No, I didn't. I just showed mouse. That's why I have a delay. Just in case if I do show mouse or anything like that, I could just end my stream.
So much like we were talking about with the contract and the socials, it's the same thing with these brand deals. That was what everyone was talking about when the lawsuit drama was going on. You can't have brand deals with brands that will compete with a brand that FaZe is sponsored by, let's say SteelSeries. So if Tfue and Cloaks are doing a mouse brand deal with Final Mouse, then what does FaZe have to say about that?
Ignoring a FaZe Clan brand deal is almost certainly against the terms of at least Tfue's contract and probably cloakzy's.
I mean, I think we'd at least have to assume that given the information we've presented to you guys so far.
All right, so there you have it. I want to thank my guest for this episode, Keith Capstick. Thank you for doing all the work in this case. Maybe I should have you on more often. And I want to reiterate before we go, before you hit the comments section, that again, no official statement regarding Cloaks and FaZe Clan's current relationship has been made. We've reached out to Cloaks, we've reached out to FaZe Clan, we haven't gotten anything back from them yet, so we don't know. But the evidence is there, and the onus is on you to make up your minds. Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, hit the sub button and ring that notification bell. For unique bite-sized videos you won't find anywhere else, hit up our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages.